Today I'm trying to complete a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokémon Yellow with only dragon types. Or should I say type, since there's only a single line in the Dratini family. That means if it faints, it's game over and I need to restart. No items are usable in battle, and no overleveling past the next gym leader's ace Pokemon. Make sure to subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment on what challenge I should do next. So, considering Dratini isn't available until, Fuchsia City Safari Zone, I figured it's more than reasonable to consider this a challenge where I need to modify my starter, swapping Pikachu out for Dratini. And that's it. After nicknaming him Darpy, I'm getting no other encounters for the rest of the game, with the exception of HM users like Diglett for Cut, Spearow for Fly, and Lapras for Surf and Strength. The rival fight actually matters at the start here, since the challenge immediately begins rather than when I get Pokeballs because of no other encounters being available, going straight in on Eevee with Wrap. Thankfully, this is Gen 1 Wrap mechanics, so Eevee can't move during the turns where I use it, though Eevee outspeeds straight away and does at least get away with a turn of Tackle every time I use Wrap, or Tail Whip if I get lucky. Since Tackle is Stab, it does way more damage than a normal starter would do, but granted, you are supposed to have a starter with Stab Thundershock here, so you get to play on an even field, but not here. Instead, after a single Tail Whip, Tackle ends up doing 9 damage and I miss Wrap twice in a row. For an 85% accurate move, that's kind of surprising, but I do manage to lay down some more Wraps, just barely managing to hang in there with a 4-turn Wrap to KO after another Tail Whip, which would have 100% of the time put Dratini dead to another Tackle. Good stuff. No second attempt straight away means I'm halfway through early game hell. One Viridian Forest trainer later that I probably took on way too underleveled since, well, I'm using one Pokemon. I'm a bit worried about overleveling at this point, but I realized that the level caps for Yellow are much less punishing than Red and Blue when it comes to runs that only have a single encounter for half the game or more, like Ghost, Dragon, or Fighting, since Lieutenant Surge's cap is 28 instead of 24, which makes a world of difference. Because of that, I'm completely fine bringing Dratini up to level 12 off the backs of Gen 2 Pidgeys on Route 1. Why specifically level 2 Pidgeys? Well, if you don't know, Generations 1 and 2 work on a primordial version of EVs called Stat Experience, where for KOing a Pokemon, you'll gain invisible experience in each of a Pokemon's stats in tandem with the base stats that which you KO'd. So for Pidgey, you'd get 40 HP, 45 attack, 40 defense, 56 speed, and 35 special, with each stat having a max of 65,535 experience you can get, so essentially it's as if you can get 252 EVs in all 6 of your stats rather than just 2. Or 5, I guess, since special is technically 1 stat in Gen 1. Because of that, I can just float Dratini up to level 12, learning Thunder Wave along the way, but of course not necessarily for Brock. Here I just have to rely on 85% accuracy, more than 2-turn Wraps of course, and if needed, Leer to leverage a little bit more damage out of my Wraps if the luck isn't on my side. Hence the usage of 2 Leers on Geodude as it misses a tackle and then hits 1. From there it's just a bunch of Wraps until it goes down, using 9 in total. Yeah, I think I'm gonna need a little more than 2 Leers on Onix, with the first 2 hitting as Onix hits a tackle for low damage, then Screech misses, with another 4 being applied as Screech misses for a second time, followed by a Bide. From there, it's a cinch with Wrap. Despite missing a few times, getting hit with a few more tackles, along with a bind that had me a little worried that Dratini wasn't going to be able to withstand the onslaught, I managed to lock in the last Wrap at 6 HP, KOing Onix and providing me with the Boulder Badge. We're out of early game hell, and with the TM for Water Gun picked up in Mount Moon, that officially gives me the only out I could ever need against Rock and Ground types. Everything else, Wrap takes care of. Only taking on the minimum amount of battles through Route 3 and Mount Moon gets me to the Super Nerd blocking the fossils at level 14, and thanks to Wrap it's a pretty easy cleanup, grabbing the Helix fossil out of habit more than anything else, and taking on Jesse and James right after. Slapping Thunder Wave before everything gets to move on every opponent has been just such a boon to save myself the extra 15% accuracy that I'm missing Wrap, because sometimes they'll just be stunned for the turn, like here with Ekans who can use Leer, and then I make sure it's slower and lock in my own Wrap as opposed to it being able to use Wrap on me, letting me establish the lock to KO it, Meowth, and Coughing to earn me the win, emerging into Cerulean City at level 16, a perfect time to take on my rival for the second time. Pooh here has 4 Pokemon, an immense jump from the one that he started out with in the lab, leading Spearow as Dratini takes a great start with Thunder Wave following a Growl, with every one of my follow-up Wraps taking Spearow from 100 to 0, putting the finishing touches with 1 Water Gun to KO and leading to Sandshrew, a theoretical easy 2-shot with Water Gun, but ain't no way I'm taking the risk of being hit by Sand Attack here with an 85% accurate move and 2 normal types that could hit Dratini with some strong stab moves. So naturally, Wrap takes it down to less than half, and Water Gun finishes off the accuracy gremlin, leading to Rattata. And as if I spoke it into existence, Rattata with Hyper Fang nearly does half damage to Dratini, so Thunder Wave and Wrap are applied to lock it down, nearly KOing it damageless from there if it weren't for an errant quick attack that Rattata just sneakily got in there, leaving Dratini with just 20 HP going into his last Pokemon in Eevee. Thunder Wave once again works its magic, but now that Rattata is at -2 with both Spearow and Eevee's growls, I'm likely not going to be able to take out Eevee with the remaining Wrap power points I have, even though there's 8 of them. However, it seems that I was wrong. It was actually just enough thanks to some great successions on Wrap, holding Eevee down for 3 to 4 turns at a time rather than the minimum 2 to get me the win. Perfect. And there's just enough EXP through the entirety of Nugget Bridge and Route 25 to get to the level cap of 21, grabbing the SS ticket from Bill before returning back to Cerulean for the gym battle against Misty. And just in time, since I managed to get Agility, which means I can take advantage of the Badge Boost glitch with it. If you're unfamiliar, the Badge Boost is only in Generations 1 through 3, where certain badges will give a 25% boost to an individual stat. In this case, the Boulder Badge increasing attack. When a stat boosting move is used, the badge boost is reapplied, meaning I'll get another 25% boost to my attack upon using agility, though it only applies until the Pokemon levels up, resetting the badge boosts. So I'm going in at level 21, but not so close to level 22 to where I'll level up until I take out Misty's last Pokemon in Starmie. I think the explanation is pretty well visualized by the fight against Misty's Staryu, since after using Thunder Wave and an Agility, despite an X-Defend, Wrap is just shredding its HP, taking it down while Dratini still has 2/3 of its HP left going into Starmie. Once again, it's just a layer of Thunder Wave as protection as Tackle does a grand total of 9 damage, with Wrap being cinched in once again. With the exception of a single miss where Starmie gets to use another Tackle for 9 damage, it's from 100 to 0 for the Pokemon that definitely won't get a Mega Evolution that gives it legs and looks absolutely horrendous, earning me the Cascade Badge. Now with that level cap going from 21 to 28, that's a huge amount of room to play with. Despite that, I feel pretty confident going into the next rival fight having fought the minimum amount of trainers to get down to the SS Anne in 2. Yeah, only 2 trainers on Route 6, so holy crap, that Raticate nearly knocked the daylights out of Dratini, bringing it to just 3 HP as I managed to pull out the win, entering Vermilion City. No required trainers inside of the SS Anne, so it's straight onto the rival leading Spearow as Dratini is able to just lock in with Thunder Wave and Wrap, only taking 12 damage before the newly obtained Bubble Beam from Misty takes it out, leading to Rattata. This time there's no Hyper Fang coming my way after Thunder Wave, so it's the same cycle of here going for that, then clenching tight with Wrap, and finishing it off with Bubble Beam. Third is Sandshrew, which is just 1 Bubble Beam, don't even need to bother with Wrap, leaving just Eevee to be the final victim of the Thunder Wave Wrap lock. Despite the rival's insistence in being like, hey, this isn't fair, I'm gonna use a potion to heal Eevee to get another shot, only to continue being locked in by Wrap and go down to Bubble Beam for the last bit of HP, earning me the win. HM for cut in hand, let's head into Lieutenant Surge's gym. Or so you'd think. Yeah, I think after doing the puzzle, I'm not taking him on at level 23. Instead, I went back up to Cerulean City, headed through routes 9, 10, and Rock Tunnel to enter Lavender Town, then ran through routes 8 and 7 to finally arrive in Celadon City, grabbing the fresh water and of course the other drinks for the TMs, but mostly to open up Saffron and make EC passage back to Vermilion now that Dratini is equipped with the Ice Beam TM. Even then, Dratini's only at level 26 despite the cap of 28, though upon reflection I totally could have pushed the level to 28 since Erica's gym is already accessible because of all of the detour I already did, and only has 1 required trainer with 1 Pokemon blocking the path to her. But it seems as though I'm perfectly fine thanks to agility, setting one up through a Mega Punch for a little under half to start outspeeding Raichu, and get in with those badge boosted Wraps since obviously I can't use Thunder Wave on an electric type. Whittling down Raichu until Lieutenant Surge busts out the exact item that I was hoping he wouldn't, the X-Speed. I probably should have used 2 agilities upon reflection, especially once I see the dreaded second Mega Punch hit Dratini, bringing it down to just 13 HP. Thankfully though, the AI provided mercy, both with a Growl and a missed Mega Punch as I finished off Raichu with 2 Ice Beams to win, earning the Thunder Badge, the Thunderbolt TM, and the Badge Boost for Speed. Definitely not earned, but like I said multiple times recently, the Meatball Man will never be punished unless it's exactly a damage range and nothing else. Thank you, you lone Raichu. You will be appreciated for exactly 1 anime reference and nothing else, since Lieutenant Surge should have totally had an Electabuzz and Magneton to increase the team size from 2 to 3. But I digress. With the TM for Thunderbolt in my hands, I'm 3/4 of the way to my final moveset, but considering I'm planning on replacing Wrap with Hyper Beam, I'll be waiting until level 55 to evolve and gain access to it, since it's only available on fully evolved Pokemon. As for Erica though, with the level cap giving me access to Dragonair, obviously Ice Beam is going to put in massive work considering my stat experience is getting close to being maxed out. Erica leads Tangela as Dragonair goes for Ice Beam, doing over half as Bind holds it down for 3 turns, doing a grand total of 6 damage before Dragonair is free to finish the job with Ice Beam. Now, I was thinking of going into Weepinbell that I would use a single Wrap to guarantee that a single Ice Beam would do the job afterwards, but upon missing Wrap and taking 2 acids, I said to hell with an 85% accurate move and just fired off Ice Beam, doing around 75% and KOing next turn, doing the same to Gloom to earn the Rainbow Badge. No badge boost this time, since they alternate between boosts to your stats and boosts to the level of traded Pokemon you can use without being disobeyed. Also, I do find it odd that despite Erica's levels being higher than in Red and Blue, she's reverted to having a Weepinbell and Gloom instead of their final evolutions. I would have preferred to keep the final evolutions in the fight, since this is the 4th gym. That seems like the appropriate time to start throwing the weaker final evolutions at the player, but what do I know? I'm not a game designer. Now here's where the game really opens up, with the level cap shooting from 32 up to a whopping 50. That's a lot of room to be able to max out my stat experience and have way more room to play with after that. So I'm able to enter the Rocket Hideout and just smash Jesse and James into the sun. 3 Thunderbolts is all it takes to run through Ekans, Meowth, and Coughing. As for Giovanni, he's slightly more intimidating, not because of Onyx and Rhyhorn, who only take 1 Ice Beam each, but Persian, who doesn't go down to 1 Thunderbolt unlike Meowth. Instead, it takes both that and an Ice Beam to call it quits, giving me the Sylph Scope. That's my cue to enter the Pokemon Tower in Lavender Town, entering the rival fight and practically punching his team into oblivion as effectively as Tony Stark does in the Hulkbuster armor, alternating Thunderbolt and Ice Beam to KO Fearow, Magnemite, Shellder, Sandshrew, and Eevee, which, actually, that one survived a Thunderbolt. But only barely, so I didn't dignify it with anything but the PTSD inflicted by Wrap, finishing the battle and letting me run up to the top to fight Jesse and James again, only to tear through them just as easily as last time. Thunderbolting Meowth, Thunderbolting Arbok. Oh, yeah, I guess evolving will make it so that it survives. Yeah, that does make sense. Alright, well, Wrap it is, down you go. And finally, a critical Thunderbolt to Weezing to finish off the quick bout, handing me the Poké-Flute from Mr. Fuji. Beautiful, now to go finish off Team Rocket for good. Level 45 seems pretty nice for Dragonair going into the 5th rival encounter. Despite the evolutions, it's just as easy as ever thanks to Ice Beam on Sandslash, Thunderbolt on Cloyster, a mix of Wrap and Ice Beam on Magneton, which I should mention that Dragonair tanked that Supersonic like a champ, not letting go of its grip on Wrap and refusing to hit itself before firing off that Ice Beam for the KO. Kadabra literally goes down to 3 connections of Wrap, not 3 power points, but each individual turn did a third of its HP. I gotta love how paper-thin Kadabra is physically, and Cloyster is specially, leaving just Flareon. I wish I had the move slot for Surf against Flareon, but I just have to go at it with neutral moves, including Ice Beam, which, hilariously, if you didn't know, Ice is neutral against Fire in Gen 1. Though when you think about it, it does make sense. Ice being used on fire, sure, it hurts in solid form, but it only then melts once making contact, putting the fire type in discomfort, but not necessarily pain. At least that's how I would kinda justify it. Anywho, Jesse and James are right after, and who knew this fight would be a breeze? Wrap and Thunderbolt combo nearly gets me through the fight damageless. Then again, the damage came from the last fight against the rival, so yeah, I guess that was damageless, destroying Weezing, Arbok, and Meowth to get them out of the way before Giovanni. Wrap is needed on Nidorino since I don't have access to Psychic, and I'm not as stupid as Lance wielding a dragon since I don't keep clicking Agility over and over again. Instead, I just finished Nidorino off with Thunderbolt, leaving Persian the victim of the same Wrap Thunderbolt combo. Rhyhorn obviously falls to Ice Beam, leaving just Nidoqueen who barely squeaks by from an Ice Beam, though Giovanni is very dumb and very stupid, using a guard spec and letting me get through this fight damageless as well thanks to a second Ice Beam. Alright, useless Master Ball in hand, let's go finish off those last half of the gym leaders. First up, Sabrina, since I think Wrap will just obliterate her, and sure enough, despite taking a turn to set up 2 agilities against Abra and letting it get off Flash to lower Dragonair's accuracy as well as an X-Defend, Wrap still shreds here, taking only 3 turns to take out Abra, leading to Kadabra. Psychic does a little less than half, with 4 turns of Wrap finishing it off, leaving just Alakazam. And as expected, it takes another extra turn compared to Kadabra, with 5 hits of Wrap. But Alakazam doesn't get the chance to do damage thanks to Sabrina insisting upon an X-Defend. Surely it'll survive in the red if I do that, woohoo! That's the Marsh badge in hand, and while the team is dumb, I appreciate the devs committing to the bit with the Abracadabra Alakazam saying for magicians. Is it a saying? Is it supposed to be like a stereotypical thing? I don't even really think that makes sense with the Japanese name, so it couldn't have been the intention. So at least it makes the English translation look more confident in the choice? I don't know, man. Regardless, with one trainerless bike ride down to Fuchsia City, the ability to finally hit the cap of 50 is possible for Koga, is what I would say if I just didn't keep deciding to press the A button immediately after running up to him like an excited parasocial dork. He leads Venonat as Dragonair just lets me go in Raps Blazing, clamping down on his first 2 Venonats to put them to metaphorical sleep and zap them with Thunderbolt to finish the job, leading to the third and final one, decided to outspeed and hit Toxic. Screw this taking my time then. Critical Thunderbolt and you're gone, leaving just Venomoth. It takes me 4 turns of trying to fight through 2 double teams in an X attack, but that toxic damage only manages to rack up 60 points, as Thunderbolt and Ice Beam manage to fell the Poison Dusting Buggy, giving me the Soul Badge and Badge Boost for defense. Really wish I understood the choice of giving Koga 3 Venonats and a Venomoth in this one. I mean, I totally understand not wanting to give him Vileplume or Victory Bell since Erika already used their pre-evolutions, or Weezing or Arbok because of Team Rocket, or Nidoking or Nidoqueen due to their ground typing in association with Giovanni, or even Haunter or Gengar due to the upcoming fight with Agatha, but come on, they could have used, like, Beedrill, Golbat, Tentacruel, and Muck alongside Venomoth? Maybe cut Beedrill due to it being such an early game Pokemon and Venomoth being the better bug poison type, but that would have been a much more varied 4-Pokemon team. You know, come to think of it, I imagine this problem that I've been having with the gym battles not necessarily making the most sense is remedied in the Smith Plays' Pokemon Yellow Legacy hack. Considering that has a retro achievement set, it could be worth going out of my way to check out sooner or later. That aside, I guess I've got to go after Blaine for the special badge boost now. A shame that level cap is 54 though, since I sure would like to have Dragonite by now, but I'm sure I can do the job with Wrap. No, funnily enough, the only damage done to me throughout this entire fight is 2 self-induced hits of confusion thanks to Confuse Ray, since of course I was setting up agility to badge boost my Wraps and force Blaine into submission, with Dragonair doing half damage to itself before the Wrap Thunderbolt combo takes its toll on Ninetales, Rapidash, and Arcanine to earn me the win. Honestly, a nearly perfect team for the end of Kanto, but I do wish they had kept the 4 Pokemon team size like Red and Blue had and just gave him Magmar. As for Giovanni's gym battle, of course the newly evolved Dragonite with Ice Beam was going to tear this fight to shreds. Although, we did get outsped on the first turn by Dugtrio, who went for Dig against a flying type. Alright, well I guess I'll take the moment to use agility to boost all of Dragonite's stats for the rest of the fight. Ice Beaming Dugtrio, Hyper Beaming Persian, then Ice Beaming Nidoqueen, Nidoking, and Rhydon to finish the fight damageless. Get absolutely wrecked, you dumb nerd, though I do appreciate the touch of Persian from the anime, and for the type diversity. Half a dozen rival fights remain, bookended by the penultimate and final rival fights. The 6th overall leads with Sandslash as he has been lately, and since my level cap has gone up to 62, obviously I pushed it to 60 for this fight, obliterating him with Ice Beam to Sandslash, as does Execute to Ice Beam, Thunderbolt to Cloyster, and Hyper Beam to Magneton, Kadabra, and Flareon to one-shot each and every single one of them. One trainerless victory road later, and it's time. Will I have to do the run again, or will I get this first try? Leave your guess in a comment down below, along with your suggestion for the next game and type that I should do. And I do listen to bribes. Super thanks are always welcome if you want me to get to one of the runs you want to see in specific as quick as possible. In fact, this one right here has me wanting to do gold and silver with fire types, so I'll probably do that in October. No promises, though, if I do get too many requests, unless it's like a $50 or more, since otherwise I'll probably get way too overloaded and I wouldn't want to keep people waiting. Anyway, enough shilling. I'm just gonna make my gamer subs real quick to give me the optimal energy for the Elite Four. And boy, is it awkward having one of your favorite flavors be of the cancelled VTuber variety. If you can get your hands on it, I'd very much recommend the Pyro Power flavor. Okay, now we're done with the shilling. Just gotta take a quick nap with this here handy dandy man. Lorelai's unsurprisingly one of the easiest despite the label of being an Ice-type user due to pretty much every Ice-type in the game being part Water-type with the exception of Jinx, allowing for me to easily destroy Dugong, Cloyster, and Slowbro with Thunderbolt and Jinx with Hyper Beam, leaving just Lapras. Unfortunately, an unboosted Thunderbolt's not getting the job done, forcing Dragonite to eat a Blizzard and survive. Calculated risk, especially since crits are based on speed stats in Gen 1, and ain't no way Lapras has the speed to do that, is all I'm saying. Surviving a clapback with a second Thunderbolt to win the fight. 1 down, 4 to go. Bruno's unsurprisingly a joke with Ice Beam for Onix and my best Lance impression against Hitmonchan, setting up 2 agilities as Bruno uses 2 X defense, letting me just go ham with Thunderbolt to KO Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee, another Ice Beam for the second Onix, and a Thunderbolt and Ice Beam for Machamp, hilariously with the former paralyzing Machamp and holding it back from attacking, giving me free reign to finish the fight damageless. Unsurprisingly, Agatha ends up being the biggest problem since Gengar is just a status machine. First lick after an agility, paralysis, so I'm just immediately going ham with attacks. Since this Gengar is using Substitute, I need to keep it off from being able to do anything else. However, since she swaps after the first one breaks, going into Golbat to Be a sacrificial lamb, I guess? I mean, sure. Out back comes the Gengar to use Mega Drain for a grand total of 2 damage as Ice Beam brings Gengar down to a quarter, only for it to KO itself using Substitute. I had no idea you could do that in Gen 1. That's absolutely hilarious that the game will just let you use Substitute if you have exactly 25% HP remaining, and that just kills you. No complaints, 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10 game design. Arbok comes out after Agatha goes Switch Happy from Haunter, going down to an Ice Beam Hyper Beam combo following Dragonite being confused, with Haunter coming back out and attempting to fight off Dragonite with Confuse Ray. It does hit itself once, but Thunderbolt and Ice Beam get the job done, leaving just the second Gengar. I sure would love to know why the AI is wanting to use Dream Eater despite Dragonite being paralyzed and not asleep, but I can't complain about a free win. 2 Ice Beams later, and with the second being a crit to rub salt into the wound, the match is over, letting me use an elixir before entering the Lance fight with nothing but the I pressed the A button thought in my head. Thunderbolt to Gyarados, Ice Beam to the Dragonairs, Thunderbolt to Aerodactyl, and Ice Beam to Dragonite. Dope. I sure do want some. Anyway, one more elixir, and I'm fully restored for the champion rival fight. 1 agility is all that I need to set up against his lead Sandslash, eating a Fury Swipes for a startling... Wow, you know, I can't believe I took double-digit damage from that, leaving Sandslash to fall to Ice Beam, Alakazam to be knocked out by Hyper Beam, Executor to, surprisingly enough, survive an Ice Beam, and give me enough time to comment that they literally used that same Executor sprite all the way through Gen 4 because of how perfect the pose was and facial expressions were, taking a second Ice Beam just in time for me to finish that comparison. I figured Magneton's going to use a Thunder Wave, so I may as well get those last 2 agilities in there. Though in hindsight, I probably should have just clicked Hyper Beam and hoped for the best, since while Thunderbolt didn't do much damage before Hyper Beam KO'd, Aurora Beam from Cloyster sure as hell did after a Paralysis turn, taking over half of Dragonite's remaining HP as I managed to pull a Thunderbolt through the Paralysis, zapping it down to size and leaving just Flareon. And of course, the Meatball Man remains unpunished, as Hyper Beam immediately blasts the starter back into the Pokeball from whence it came, taking out the champion's final Pokemon and taking the title for myself, entering my lone Dragonite into the Hall of Fame. I'm not gonna lie, I was very sloppy with this run. Admittedly, I was recording it at 4 AM since I had been taking a lot of my time during the day I recorded this, making thumbnails and video graphics for the stuff coming out for the rest of this month and October, but I'm glad this one worked out. Next time, though, I aim to not make as many mistakes. Until then, though, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you next time.